Welcome to another Spotlight episode. Today I'm with Martin from Oddin. Martin is the VP of Institutional Affairs. So Martin, we're going to be talking about de-risking esports. And the first question that I have for you is, how does Oddin, with their focus on integrity and your focus on compliance as well, how do you ensure that when adding esports, how does it not become a compliance headache, especially in the US, where regulations are quite challenging?
First of all, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. Great event. So thanks for hosting us all, as in the whole industry.
Pleasure.
Indeed, as you pointed out, I'm a still relatively newly minted, if you will, or anointed VP Institutional Affairs at Oddin. I'm having a lot of fun. So thank you, Oddin, for the opportunity to finally answer your question. Indeed, the business prides itself on the integrity standard it's brought to the game. It's, of course, fair to say that we're not the only ones, because as you might know, the game publishers themselves, the tournament organizers, they've got their integrity protocols, they've got their referees and what have you. So integrity throughout the years has been a critical, indispensable part of the game, if you pardon the pun. When it comes to US regulation, yes, indeed, it's not necessarily straightforward. Brushing what everybody, I guess, been talking about at this event, prediction markets.
Yes.
The traditional betting markets are regulated, as you would know, on a state-by-state basis. But in the heart of hearts, the regulations and all the principles underlying the regulations are, if not identical, then very, very similar. So to come full circle, integrity is the king, and Oddin, not sure to what extent I'm allowed to advertise the products, but
You're very welcome to.
Thank you very much. The boys and girls back in Prague and all around the world that actually, as I keep saying, have proper jobs, unlike us talking heads that produce the technology and products. They have infused it with integrity guardrails and safeguards.
Yeah.
And that way, we do seek to meet the two key objectives here. So serve our partners and clients and provide them with a seamless experience that typically is based on iframes, so more straightforward and less cumbersome means of integration. And of course, as I've already said, to make sure that we're compliant with the applicable standards, including integrity standards, and help, again, the partners, the clients, comply with theirs as part of their overall product portfolio.
I do feel like there's a hopeful affinity with Next as well. You know, Next, we do hold ourselves to those equal integrity standards. So it's wonderful to, you know, just hear that is appreciated across the board from, you know, you and I. And I hear that there's a concern by traditional sports books and esports that add too much complexity for them to then manage that profitability. How does Oddin go about helping the books lower that regulatory tax and operational overhead so that they can generate that revenue from esports?
Quite frankly, I would perceive it as a huge, and I do perceive it as a huge commercial opportunity. As you might know, especially since the pandemic, the world, this will sound very cheesy or corny if you want me to speak British or American, brushing that aside, has changed. During that very period, next to no sports, with the notable exception of the proverbial Ghanaian tennis tournaments and Belarusian football league, nothing but esports was available. And I believe, talking about affinities, that the whole betting world took even more infatuation with an affinity with esports.
Okay.
To answer your question, it's certainly been a journey. Yes, on the face of it, won't lie to you, it may appear cumbersome because the environment is much more dispersed or diffuse, if you will. But at the same time, Oddin has, in my book, very firmly implanted itself at the crossroads between the betting industry and the esports industry. So I would love for the folks out there to perceive us as a gateway to it, And indeed, we do help with the complexities by means of, to finally answer your question, our knowledge of the esports industry. We got, not me necessarily, but we got a whole bunch of folks that hail from the industry. So do come to us if you have any questions. Those guys have the answers, not only about integrity, about the individual leagues, tournaments, the games. They're, I'm saying, nicest possible way, gamers themselves. So it's sort of lived experience. So the answer, long-winded answer, granted, to your question would be, it's the knowledge, it's also the spirit, not only of integrity, but professionalism, but also excitement about the esports world that we're using, as a company, we're using to permeate the products and the processes. And that way we love to work, and we do work with our partners, making it easy. We touched upon the likes of iframes and other technical solutions. So in an ideal world, and that's the zinger here, if you will, we provide it on the silver plate. Come and work with us, and let's help each other, even when it comes, or in particular when it comes to regulation. But all this can be addressed. That's what I'm trying to say.
And creates those commercial opportunities, for unlocking the potential
Absolutely.
of sports.
Commercial opportunities across the whole sector. It's a two-way traffic.
Yeah. Sportsbooks are also desperate to lower that customer acquisition cost when it comes to marketing and acquiring new players. From a regulatory standpoint, how does Oddin make it easier for them to offer that innovative product to the esports customers and those that are interested in it? How do you actually convert those younger fans into interested players?
2 points there, if I may, and you touched upon it. In my book, the esports players that hopefully we would help convert into esports bettors, or any other bettors, but esports players, the whole community, they're very, very loyal. There are, of course, rivalries between the individual communities, but you have one or more products or games of your choice, and you stick to them, and that generates, so the community spirit derives from that. So in my book, that's part of the answer to your question about acquisition costs, acquisition/retention costs. How do we get the younger folks in particular excited? And I'm probably not that generation anymore. In my younger days, when I had no white or gray hair, I did not competitively, but I enjoyed playing computer games. No wife, no kids at that point. What I'm trying to say is that at the same time, I've always been a huge sports fan. So I have to admit that I like games, I like gaming, I like esports, but majorly I'm a sports guy. But the younger generation, they're different.
Yeah.
They may not care as much as I would for the likes of, let's call it its proper name, football in the UK. And for complexity and confusion, football in the US, hockey, baseball, they care for different kind of products. So that's part of that community spirit. And point number one, the loyalty, you'd like to think, generates lower both acquisition, also retention cost. I believe that's the other challenge that we do have as an industry, because for obvious reasons, it's only too easy to flip-flop between individual providers, which ratchets up the acquisition and the retention costs. So that is one in terms of the spirit and, if you will, the philosophical elements of it. And the other one is the fact that this cohort of potential customers, of course, once they in this country hit 21, 18, many European countries, 19 in Canada, it's growing. It would appear that I'm reiterating the same point. It's probably another flavor to it, twist to the tail. But inevitably, I suppose we don't know yet what the even younger generation, once they're eligible, if they choose, nobody will be foisting that on them, let me make that clear, choose to bet. What they will want to bet on, it may be something completely different that may not even exist yet. But what is clear for now is that that cohort from which esports fan hail is definitely growing, which you'd like to think, combined with the loyalty to come full circle yet again, should ultimately help decrease the retention and acquisition and retention costs for this particular segment.
Yeah. Do you feel like you did touch on prediction markets and the hot topic of the day, but with that sort of crossover that we're kind of seeing with prediction markets into its heavy use into sports betting, do you feel like prediction markets could open up that opportunity for esports betting more so than your traditional sports books?
Oh, absolutely. As you would know, at least as things stand at the moment, prediction markets have much more latitude or room for maneuver, if you will, when it comes to the variety, the kinds of markets they're allowed to offer. I mean, they may not be necessarily talking about the date of Travis's and Taylor's wedding. By the way, that one's clear. It's the 27 Super Bowl, because she'll be singing and he might be in it. But I'm saying that as a Patriots fan.
That's not a bad there must be
prediction.
A method. Huh?
There must be a method to the madness. Yeah. And Roger Goodell might be, and I met Roger. Sorry, Roger. He might be the master of ceremonies at that wedding.
There was a literal wedding at this year's Super Bowl with Bad Bunny and his performance. So
that's right. Yeah.
And Taylor Swift and Travis could.
I had, if you pardon, I had the good luck of having been at the game. Oh.
Not a bad shout in terms of the date.
Let's see, but coming back to my point and shunting all the silliness aside, the bottom line is that prediction markets have much more latitude, much more leeway when it comes to the types and kinds of markets they're allowed to offer. And I believe this could go both ways. There could be more restrictions on prediction markets. CFTC, as you may know, has already announced that there will be more guidance. But I'm by no means suggesting that they're after restricting the market types, which I think, quite frankly, to keep the spirit of this interview, as long as it is within the guardrails of integrity, totally fine. So the point I was going to make, yes, it's a huge opportunity for esports, much more latitude that I keep talking about, but also if I were, and again, a lot of them happen to be my friends. I'm sorry if I'm saying something too controversial, but if I were the state regulators and even more importantly, legislators, I'd be thinking, isn't this an opportunity to extend the portfolio of the permitted sports betting markets, while at the same time trying, to be fair, force the Kalshis, the polymarkets of this world, to abide by a higher set, or a set of higher integrity and consumer protection, responsible trading, if you will, standards. So that would be my take. Long story short, absolutely an opportunity for esports.
I would think so too, personally. And also this global landscape that you are very well aware of. For Sportsbook looking to expand into other regions like LatAm, Ontario, how does partnering with a compliance first and, let's say, integrity first supplier like Oddin, how does that speed up that time to market?
There's no doubt, as I keep saying, I might be biased, but even in general, but when it comes to Oddin in particular, there's no doubt that it always pays off, including from the pure economic or commercial perspective, to partner up with the likes of Oddin in this particular instance, or an organization that is compliance-led, compliance-conscious, integrity-led, because it does help, we've already touched upon it when discussing the other themes here. It's always an upside when it comes to preventing anything nasty or untoward that may be coming the operator's way from within the regulator's quarters. And in my experience, just to put it into context, most, if not all, regulators around the world, they are, contrary to the popular belief, they are at least try to be in the operator's corner. However, logically, in return of the operators and their suppliers, or that symbiotic environment, playing it by the book. It's an absolute must. It's a no-brainer. And it's also, to set it into even broader context, It's part of the battle that we have been and will have to carry on waging against the black market.
Yeah.
Do this properly, abide by the rules, together with the regulators, and ultimately the governments. That's what I would expect, final point, if I may. It's like, in return of getting these licenses, playing it by the book, get the protection. And that's why I'm saying that many regulators all around the world are in the industry's corner.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off that, if you play it by the book, you will get fairer judgment.
Absolutely.
Final question. When a new state or country opens up, it's usually a race to who gets there first, right? We saw it in Brazil. How does working with a vetted partner like Oddin help a sportsbook go live and take bets before the competitors? That's speed to market. How do you help?
In practical terms, I'd like to think that our partners do know that they can rely on us, that we will do the right thing and be compliant. As we've already discussed, we can help them support their own processes, because as you would know, most, if not all jurisdictions, at the very least, a list of vendors is required. And if the regulators can go, oh yeah, we know Oddin, they're one of the good guys, played by the book, and these guys work with them. I'm not saying it would necessarily be a super critical factor for these operators, that if the regulator sees partners like Oddin on that list, it gives them a whole new level or higher level of comfort, I guess. And then, once again, at the risk of apologies, sounding like a broken record, it's a matter of collaboration between the supplier and its partners, the operators, as part of the ecosystem that we're creating together. They help us, we help them, including when it comes to meeting the regulatory requirements. Because they know, and that is the key message that I'm trying to deliver, that the products they get from Oddin are reliable, as you've said yourself. They've been vetted and they adhere to and abide by the highest integrity standards. And that applies worldwide. Because ideally, we'd be working with the whole industry across the board in as many regions of the world as possible.
Martin, thank you very much for your time, and also very excited to see where this takes you with your journey at Oddin as well. I know you're relatively new to the role, so it's exciting to see where you'll go next with this role, and we'll keep watch of that as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks again for having me.
Pleasure.
Anytime in the future, just shout, you know where to find me.
Yeah, we'll be there. Thank you very much.